Let's try that again. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commentary is Magic's stream on today's Sunday, May 17th, 2020. I am, as always, the tongue-tied Grandpaws.
Big Cheese.
Ivory Starlight, I guess? Apparently I'm around people I don't know today.
You know who Murlocs are.
I know exactly who the Murloc is. I'm just sitting here trying to give Grandpa's a little bit more, PTSD.
It's working.
No.
Well, as we all continue to sit here and shelter in place, at least it gives us the excuse to play pony cards with people, which is exactly what we did last weekend. And that was some fun.
Fun?
Fun.
No, we can't have the... It doesn't work when there's only 4 people.
No fun allowed.
Speak for yourself. I am on the second floor of my residence, and I can bounce up and down and probably get someone to call the authorities.
I can't because I'm over my garage.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Anyway. So, fun aside, let's talk about the fun. Where's the fun at? There's the fun.
I think the fun was OnlineCon?
OnlineCon, yes.
Yes. Okay, OnlineCon. Let's see. So I think it'd be interesting to go through, say, the top 4.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Seems good.
All right.
We had 12 people participate. Thank you, everyone, for showing up.
All right. So, can we take a look at our first place finisher?
Sure.
Okay, so what do we got going here? So, a nurturing nature
Pegasi aggro deck, it looks like.
All right, yeah, I guess I tribal.
Yeah,
There's a few Pegasi there.
Yeah, got some Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy Chillaxin and some CC and Flitters making things cheaper, and got some Day Shift keeping stuff at problems, and Meadowbrooks blowing stuff up.
We got a rack of shoe shines here.
And some Sanctuary Constructions blowing stuff up, and some Friends Are Always There blowing stuff up.
I get the feeling that this deck does not like resources.
Or Troublemakers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it also has... it also has the Bryans.
Yep. Some more resource. Yeah. It just blows all the things up.
This deck does not care about your resources or Troublemakers.
Not as such, no.
Or it cares so much that it's dedicating half its card slots to dealing with them.
I mean, that's how this works, right? You're just going to, smother them in kindness?
Sure, let's go with that. Smothering them in kindness.
What I always find interesting to look at in these yellow aggro decks, which this clearly is the problem deck. Because that is where you really end up seeing a lot of the variance between two similar lists. And in this case, I think the most interesting inclusion here is moving out.
Yeah, that's a little bizarre, actually. It does have...
You got Safety Lecture, you got Burrito Attack.
What is that? It's got 9 pieces of Frighten, potentially?
Well, you've also got the sticks.
Oh, and the sticks, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, fair.
I think it's only 8, but yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 if you're counting the sticks.
Oh.
Because you got Professors of Loyalty, too. Don't forget those.
Yes.
I was counting those. Yeah, that's a 2 on the Burrito Attack, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tiny. Can't see.
We also see Swaying the Sea Ponies with Nurturing Nature as the main, and that's an interesting choice.
That's kind of spicy.
But you figure you've got the Pegasi tribal theme going on here, so there's a lot of power boosting either by trait or by location, so that's not as difficult to hit as you might think it would be.
Especially with Day Shift.
What is the ability on that? Is that the first time you move a character?
You move another character.
Yeah, okay.
That's all cool and good, but what actually matters there, though, is that big old 3 over on the side there.
Correct.
But the rest of the problem deck is not high bonus.
Right.
I mean, moving out has a 2 bonus. That's higher than what we usually see with Nurturing Nature.
Yeah.
Right. That's a little more spicy. Although I think this deck can probably get away with it because it's got.
I don't know. I'm more of a fan of consistent bonuses.
Mm,
Makes
He
it
has
easier to plan.
bunyips. So in the lower bonuses, if he really wants extra points, he's got the 3 bunyips.
Yeah, that's true.
right. And it's got enough interaction here that it can probably mess up a DFO attempt.
Yeah, between the Sepakli attacks and the unsatisfactory works, it's likely you can hit a key friend.
Yeah, and don't forget those calming on CC and Flitter there too, because that'll mess you up 100% of the time if you forget that.
Yes, it will. Very true.
Everyone forgets calming.
All right, next list.
So that was Smithers with an impressive 4-0 finish.
And now we have
Impressive or impressive?
Por qué no los
both.
dos?
Now we have Ivory.
Hey,
Whose
look,
deck? What is this deck?
It's more yellow.
I've never seen this deck before in my life.
I've
Now, I think
definitely
it's
seen this
worth
deck.
noting. It's worth noting the number of yellow cards that are shared between this and the other one are much fewer. We still have the events because the events are still good.
There's
Still
still a
have
Meadowbrook.
Day Shift and
Still a
Still a day
Meadowbrook.
shift.
Yeah.
And I think some
Sanctuary.
of the color is the same.
Yeah.
And sanctuary construction, yeah, and you still have your FOFs.
And of course the Raku unsatisfactory works. Those are, never not good.
No, you got to Pegasize them, and of course you're going to play that. It's a really good card.
Right. Now, the rest of this, I think the concerning thing here is the Pegasus Royal Guards there. With their purple and yellowness.
See,
And
you'd think so. You'd think the Pegasus Royal Guards would be the concerning part of this.
GP's got stories.
I look one card to the right and one card to the left.
Yeah.
And I sit there and look at those 5 cards out of 50 and see 4 of them drawn when he's like 15 cards deep in his deck. And I'm like,
Gonna have a bad time here.
a bad time was indeed had.
You nuked my day shifts. What else was I supposed to do?
What was I supposed to do? You played day shift. That's not allowed. More on that later.
Spoilers.
So, most people have probably seen this deck in action since it's been used a number of places, but for those that don't know, Dilemmas with Growing Confidence and Day Shift is kind of next level stupid. You're essentially playing a dilemma. Most of the dilemmas in this deck you play for free. You get to move something, and you get to draw a card.
If that dilemma happens to be corralling critters, you're also putting more bodies into play, which can be fuel for Goldie or Critter Choir or trigger Pegasus Royal Guard.
Or.
Yeah, the snowballing potential of this deck is kind of unreal.
Well, congratulations on another solid finish.
Yep.
Take a look at Joshington's deck.
Yep.
Hey, look.
My one loss.
Another 3-1 finisher.
A bit more Fluttershy.
Hey.
I noticed that this too is yellow. Our Fluttershy counters up to 3 here.
What's the day
but
shift
this one
counter at?
is,
9.
Hey, geez, he's running your favorite card in the game. The card to the right of Day Shift.
Ah, yes, Yona.
Your favorite card. You love playing against Yona.
Kool-Aidiac. It's like it's a really good card or something.
Super annoying.
I hate that card so much.
All right, and then let's
Like-
look at this suite of troublemakers we got going on here. It's like we've got it's basically the annoying ones. We've got a rack of Mimics, a rack of Grogars, a Tempest just in case, I don't know, Traitor to the Hive or something.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I'm feeling
moving-
these 2 others are sideboard troublemakers.
Yeah. But the Wall of Changelings, not bad.
That's a spicy inclusion, the changeling barricades.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting one. Gives him a little bit of protection in the event that the opponent is playing a lot of dilemmas, and you can use an unsatisfactory work or a tough love to stop them. So if you can prevent the DFO, then have a Grogar in play, find a changeling barricade, uncover it on your next TM phase. Every problem is blocked again.
Well,
And then you
sure.
can always use guard geese to do it again.
Well, remember, yes, you can use Guard Geese to turn the barricade face down.
But I believe that is an uncover, not a when this is turned face up.
Correct.
Yeah. So you could DFO turning the thing. I don't know. There's probably something silly you can do with it.
I mean, of course there is.
That's why they're in there. Also, we see adoption options, so you can go out there and find your Brian, your Bunyip, and your Guard Geese and be like, yes, I have cards for every occasion.
I think those are the only critters here. Well, the one gummy, but
You are implying that you need anything other than those three. I'm gonna be honest, you don't need anything other than those three, unless you can turn Yona into a critter.
I was
Hey,
gonna say, if we can,
let's
let's do that. Let's make Kool-Aid Yak a critter.
Yeah, seems good. Or Raptor Razor a critter? That doesn't really make sense.
Incredibly low confront requirements on all the problems here. Raptor Razor in conjunction with the troublemakers that you run. Grogar is still one of the best answers to non-epic troublemakers. Fluttershy sits there and looks at Mimics and is like, I'm very frustrated. Grogar sits there and looks at Mimics and is like, that's cute.
Well, I mean, this makes perfect sense. Fluttershy is so frustrated she could just scream. Discord's like, all right, I got this.
Very true.
Nice connection there.
Yeah, I accept it. I also like the 2 copies of Pinkie Pie Professor of Laughter. There's no pink cards in the deck. We just sometimes gotta put ponies to sleep. Or shoot them out of a cannon.
I was about to say, or launch them.
I mean, look, the Equestrian Space Program isn't going to get started.
Grogar signed up first. Smolder's just there to watch the fire.
You mean Gallus?
Did I say Grogar? Yeah, Gallus.
Yeah.
One of them G names.
So wait, hold on.
So Grogar's a griffin?
Yeah, I think he's a griffin.
Basically.
Gonna go ahead and errata that.
Also, I'm sitting here looking at this Grogar card and realizing how amazing this will look with googly eyes on it, so I'm gonna have to do that now.
It's not gonna look as good as the Tempest will, though.
The Tempest one looks the best.
The promo one?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
Alright, let's look at list number 4. Place your bets now.
Increment Fluttershy counter.
Hey, it's more Fluttershy.
This one actually has pink in it, though.
I'm more okay with this because there's a concentration of Silverstream here.
I like the embers that are there to fill out the sideboard slots.
It's literally, he just didn't want to pick 2 other cards.
Correct.
Yeah. So you psych the opponent out in tier 3 when they look at your list, and they're like, what is Ember there for? I'm scared. And they're like,
and
oh,
then
wait,
they
it's
look
just there
and be
because...
like, it can't be played.
But or can it?
No, it
can't.
Or can it?
Not with what's in this deck. I don't know what your opponent might be doing, but...
See, you're not... Come on, you got to work with me here. Or can it? I mean,
you're going to have to work with me. I have no idea what you're referring to.
Same.
You're just trying to screw with your opponent. Come on. I mean, maybe they'll be so kind to donate you what? What are you going to need here?
Plays Sunset Festival. Pulls Ember off the top. Nice. Good meme.
That's going to be a big oof right there.
Ah, yes. The counterplay for the opponent running Sunset Festival. Let's put big, gigantic, impactful friends in our list.
Can this... Oh, you can't. There's no frighten in here. Nah, that'd be dumb. Oh well.
Nope.
Okay, so we got some pink going on here.
We got pink because Silverstream's going to be making dilemmas.
And more actual dilemmas.
Yeah, and that's one of the better dilemmas, because that even gives you some inbuilt ability to play the I'm not confronting game. Although it's this being a growing confidence list, it's questionable whether or not would like to do that.
I mean, it
What
It
can.
does put that problem into play as a dilemma, which also triggers growing confidence, which is kind of silly.
Right, and then what is that? What is the net cost of that? You have to play potentially a small silver stream and then
So
two
1, 2,
more and
3, so
recover,
2. So yeah, net cost of 2, not counting cards.
and you get the body out of it.
Yeah,
It's kind of good.
that's okay. It's a
It makes
4-power
it
body,
even
yeah.
better if you have day shifts.
Oh look, there's 3 more of those.
Oh, and
Okay,
hey, look, we still see unsatisfactory work. And now we've got belly flop in here, too. We've stopped playing soft disruption games, and we're moving on to full-on mutually assured destruction.
This
I mean-
looks annoying. I would like to run this deck.
When you're running pink, there is no other option. You run the mean cards.
I mean, it's true.
So all of them?
I mean,
I don't
most
even
of them...
think. Are there not mean pink cards that you want to run?
There's like Buried Dreams.
That you want to
That
run?
you want
There's like
to
Buried
run.
Dreams. Hey, Buried Dreams wins games, man.
No, decks
it's-
that include Berry Dreams win games.
Sure.
She won some games at BronyCon
Well,
20
yes, the
14? No, 2015.
Old school.
No, it was 2014.
the fact that we have to think about this means it's been too long ago.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so that was top 4 from OnlineCon. It was nice and diverse, and
The other decks were kind of diverse.
yeah, they were, but those other
Not
decks
so
didn't
much.
make top 4.
Yeah, not so much those 4.
They were all different.
They were different, but the end goal was essentially go fast, day shift things. Day shift.
Oh, but okay, so what is... I ran some statistics for OnlineCon here. What was going on with this? Oh, there the win percentage thing came up again. That's not supposed to be in there. I'm reusing the statistics generator for Coco, which has some pretty hard assumptions about, only running 3 rounds. So some of those things don't translate well.
Ah.
Okay, well, what's going on in here? So we had overall 5 nurturing natures, 2 growing confidence, a pair of Twilight, there's a spell for that, a pair of Student 6, and an Applejack.
The tooled up one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what Applejack do you think we're running?
I mean, could be
work hard.
the new one.
Could be work hard, play hard.
Fair. Okay. Right, let's see. Going down the rest of this, it's just yellow. Just all the yellow. So much yellow. So I think that's my conclusion, is yellow.
Pretty much.
It may have taken 3 years of people constantly poking and asking and being like, can we make yellow good? Can we make yellow good? Can yellow get more good cards? And the answer every time was sure, and here's a little bit. And sure, and here's a little bit. And sure, and here's a little bit. And eventually, the dam breaks.
Well, one contributing factor to the explosion of yellow is the fact that when core rotated, it lost nothing.
Correct.
That's true. A lot of those, can we have a little bit more cards, were stuff that got added in Defender's block, which is still part of core.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yellow in EO block was kind of questionable.
Okay,
I mean,
Bugle does point out in chat it did lose Industrial Revolution, which it misses, but
Well,
it makes do.
It also lost Bewitched Beavers, and that was real important.
It also lost Marble Pie.
Yeah, so it did lose some things, but I'm going to be honest, the core of the decks haven't really changed.
Sure.
They've still got most of their tools.
I mean, you look back at what Control was like pre-rotation in Core, and the problem deck basically hadn't changed since Marks in Time. It stayed exactly the same. And many of your win conditions and many of the disruptive cards also were from that earlier era as well. So, while Control loses its entire problem deck and many of its more impactful immediate speed events,
Fluttershy's over here just being like, ee!
like, hey, I got these 2 cards in Defenders, and hey, I got these 2 cards in Sequestria, and hey, I got these 3 cards in Friends Forever. Yes, Fluttershy is now Murloc.
Fluttershy would hug a Murloc.
She would hug a Murloc.
I want a Fluttershy and Murky's epic adventure now.
It sounds great.
I'm unfamiliar with any of this.
Unfortunately, what this does mean is that as the new meta is trying to settle, it's pretty clear that the cream rose to the top. And most of that is in yellow, and the creme de la creme would be Day Shift. People can look at yellow and say, what is it about Day Shift that you guys don't like so much compared to all these other cards? I mean, look at Meadowbrook. Meadowbrook blows up Troublemakers and Resources. And Yona blows up Friends repeatedly and is really hard to deal with. And Bunyip scores a lot of extra points. Why pick on this one little alicorn who did nothing wrong? Well, it's because she did everything wrong.
One little alicorn is a Celestia card.
Except she's the biggest alicorn. Therefore, she's in charge.
Correct.
That's how this works.
See, all of those other cards offer good utility, but the value that they present often requires specific board states or additional investment over time. Day Shift rewards yellow for doing what yellow already wanted to do, which is aggroing and going fast. And not only did it reward it for doing so, it gave it the largest AT value and the largest recurring AT value of any of the top tier yellow cards right now, perhaps only rivaled by 2 of the yellow mains. And even then, still leaving at least one of them far behind.
Like, saving 4 AT from a double confront is ridiculous.
Like, let me put it
Turn
this
after
way.
turn.
There is a reason that Scootaloo, the Scootaloo main, is kind of discouraged in limited formats because she's just that broken. Hey, I've got an idea. How about if we printed a friend that did that?
But better.
But without the exhaust requirement.
Yeah.
And can also trigger during your main phase when you're putting dilemmas into play as one of the primary strategies around the Troublemakers. So, I wish I had a better eulogy prepared, but...
Well, before that, let's talk about bans.
Okay.
Bans in general.
Bans in general.
Yeah, bans in general.
Yeah.
So, I believe in one of our very first game updates, we gave a brief overview of what bans can be used to do. They can be used to solve severe negative play experiences, sometimes referred to as NPEs. They can address a deck that holds an unusually dominant position in the meta. They can address decks that disrupt the normal progression of a tournament. Globetrotter.
Penny Lane.
And in extreme circumstances, they can shake the meta up from a stale point where deck diversity is at a relative minimum. And just to make it clear, there are a couple of reasons that aren't valid for banning a card. Somebody being mad about it and or it wrecking a local meta, and it helping power a deck that holds a top but not dominant position in the global meta.
Correct. The point of a ban list, and one that is referenced and updated frequently, is not to try to say, if your deck is winning, you should be punished. That is not the goal. The goal is to say, if there is a deck that no one else can beat, or if this particular card or this particular card combination is so powerful that it actively discourages people from wanting to play in that format because they either have to run it or the answer to it, that's not fun.
It's also not interesting from a
Correct.
commentary perspective.
Right. So we don't take removing cards from the game lightly, and we've been watching each of the cards that we're going to discuss in a moment very carefully over the past few months. And a lot of the reason why we felt it necessary to take action is because we have a massive amount of data incoming from both the online cons and from the Hackos and Cocos. With all this data, we felt it necessary to make some adjustments. So, I hope that has stalled long enough to give you time to write a eulogy, because here we go.
All right. What are the casualties this time?
Well, remember all those yellow decks that we just saw? Sorry. Except not actually sorry.
Dear Princess Celestia.
You're banned.
Today I learned that you're a yay.
So does Celestia go to the moon or does she go to the sun?
I would assume she goes to the sun.
But we
Let's see,
banish
I
all
think-
the other cards to the moon.
She gets banished to G3's dimension.
Oh,
Whoa,
no.
whoa, hold on there. That's cruel and unusual. No, I think if you go and look at the cutie remark, she goes to the moon and gets, I'm not entirely sure how that one works, but I guess Nightmare has a sense of humor or something.
She goes to the retirement home. Also, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is less Celestia's fault and more Cadence's fault for creeping in on the right side of the card there, which I've never noticed until right now.
Or Luna's eye just staring at you
From
the left
around the
side.
corner.
Peering through that little bit of space there.
She calls upon the sea ponies while wearing cement shoes. That's a little dark.
Yeah.
Are you sure the G3 option isn't the worst option now?
I mean,
Yes.
gold horseshoes are pretty heavy, so
Whatever. Magical Pony Princess.
sure. So, Day Shift had simply reached a point where it was too oppressive in the core meta, which is where she's currently banned. Harmony, Day Shift is still legal for now. The amount of AT that Cheese was mentioning that Day Shift generates is just unfair and almost impossible to recover from. Even a single double problem face-off with one Day Shift in play is bad enough. But the fact that she can trigger repeatedly, and the fact that she's not unique, can just absolutely slingshot one player well ahead of the other in terms of momentum.
Yeah, 2 day ships on the field is... It's
If you
just
get to-
ridiculous.
If you get to pull that off, that's 4 AT worth of value minimum.
Yeah, and basically you DFO every turn for free. Just like automatically.
Right. I mean, everyone has been, or everyone who plays aggro has been in chin-kicking games where it gets to the point where, okay, cool, my turn, lovely. I spend 4 tokens and move 2 things, DFO. Repeat. See the little smile on her face? That little smile on her face is going, I hear you're 4, how about 0?
Mm-hmm.
Which gives you extra AT to mess with your opponent's board or play some dilemmas and get more value out of it.
Or find something even bigger to play even more, win more.
Yeah, maybe you just want to start digging through your deck to get another Day Shift.
You want to
Because
know
you
why?
have AT to do it.
You want to know why Yellow can afford to run expensive resource removal like Meadowbrook? Because it saves AT in its aggro game plan. If purple's only resource removal that it ran back pre-rotation in core was Rest in Pieces, that would have been more of a tax. But purple was able to run Rest in Pieces and other expensive cards because it had all that AT generation in friends like Cover to Cover and Starlight. Yellow just happens to do so, and it doesn't actually say AT on it. Well, it says at home. I guess that's close enough. There's your AT right there.
No, doesn't count. No, it's like reverse opportunity costs or something.
It also impacted diversity. Obviously, we saw yellow decks being incredibly dominant right now, and every single yellow deck that is out there is running 3 copies of Day Shift in core. Because there's no reason not to. You can play it off of an unboosted main with Buckball strategy, and by the way, let me tell you about how much of a frustrating opening that is from your opponent.
Turn 1, Day Shift. Turn 2, Day Shift.
Or just turn 2.
I think you
2
had
day
that
shifts.
opening against me.
2 day shifts?
I've done that.
I remember you having done that.
Well, I did it in other games as well, besides the one against you.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yes. So Day Shift's going to go chill out for a while. If you're looking to run her in Harmony, where aggro could probably use a little bit of help, she is still legal there currently, and combined with some of the high bonus problems that exist, you may have more success. Most of the aggro that we've seen in Harmony up until this point has generally been Hot Wings. So it will be interesting to see what players try to do with yellow, if they try to do something with it. But let's address the other 2 core bans before we go back in time there.
Let's talk about... Wait, is it Pinky? No, it's not Pinky. It's main 6.
It's
main
Hugs.
6.
I was just thinking of this as a Pinky card, though.
I mean, it is kind of a Pinky card, because like Pinky is far and away enjoying this the most.
Her hooves are also ridiculously long.
Don't ask questions. Just smile and nod at Pinky.
She is Elastic Pony.
Don't mess with Pinky.
Well,
Okay.
We're going to mess with Pinky. Why are we messing with Pinky?
Well, I don't think this one's going to come as a surprise to anybody. This was previously banned in core. It just didn't make the transition to the Defenders block ban list, which is what the leaders, the current core, including leaders block, consists of. Maybe we just messed up and didn't ban it right the first time? Maybe we were willing to give her another chance.
Yeah, the hope was that with
Without
the
Party
orange,
Hard.
yeah, party hard, that she wouldn't be as much of a problem. And it is slightly less of a problem, but still too much of one.
Yeah. Like, you don't have all of your stuff taken away and your hand eaten. It doesn't result in the opponent ending up with a ridiculously large friend necessarily, although Shoeshine is still, sitting here grinning with that little grin on her face.
So is Goldie Delicious.
And so many other options. The problem is that we're hoping without Party Hard, the impact would be less, but at the end of the day, it turns out that no, this is still too much of a negative player experience.
Yeah, it's just not fun to have your entire board of friends completely stolen and then consumed for your opponent's benefit. And the fact that there are several ways in core that you can actually play main 6, not put into play, but play main 6 for free is concerning, to say the least.
Student 6.
Student 6, Starlight, yeah.
Etc. and so forth.
Mm-hmm. So, back to the moon they go.
At least Celestia's got some company.
Yeah, she's got all her favorite students.
Well, one of them.
All her favorite students.
So, one other card.
In car.
Old Money. Welcome back.
So
Only to go away.
Hey, you violated parole. Go to jail.
Cheese, you wanna go through this one? Wanna say
Sure.
Should we leave you a few minutes to say goodbye?
Yeah, I think we'll. Yeah.
Yeah. Except it wasn't even banned for the way that I used it. But yeah, so Old Money was previously banned in core, due to mostly BRB with how much flicker there was.
Yeah.
But now in core we have again these ways to play characters for free, and still have at least some amount of flicker, and it's just too much. Especially with Meticulous 2, when you actually remember to use it. It is incredible value. Especially because it hits basically every type of card. So it can act as all your removal. You don't have to swap things out or anything.
Yeah, here would be an interesting experiment, a thought experiment for some people in chat. Think of one of the decks that you play. Try to count up the number of cards that you have in your decks that are designed to disrupt opposing friends, disrupt opposing resources, and disrupt opposing troublemakers. Figure out how many slots in your deck those cards occupy. Old Money basically cuts that number in 3.
Yeah,
it does
that is
everything.
And
45 says Bugle.
And
I mean, he's not wrong.
I mean,
Like, the ultimate, defense is a good offense, and their opponent can't disrupt you if you've won the game already, right?
So now imagine if you could run 30 extra cards. And only 15 of them had to do that because they could answer everything. Yeah, the Meticulous 2 is... Why? Just why? Is the question that I
she
think I
wasn't
have
good
to ask.
enough without it.
That's ludicrous.
Well,
I'm pretty confident I would have still played this card even without the Meticulous 2.
Uh-huh.
You yourself openly admit to forgetting it has Meticulous 2 and you still run it.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore. She's in the nightmare zone now.
Right. Kind of like before. She was on parole. Same story as the main 6. Straight to the moon. Well, really back to the moon.
Right. So that addresses the 3 bans that will become active in June for the core format. Hopefully, that will lead to fewer NPEs, a bit more diversity, and dialing back the reins on yellow a bit more, which we hope will have the effect of allowing other aggro decks to be able to compete. That's one issue that we didn't really talk about with Day Shift as well, is there's a lot of colors that are capable of aggroing right now, but none of them could do so as fast as yellow could because of what Day Shift generated. So everyone ran yellow.
So we'll talk about some harmony?
Sure. Talk to me about some harmony.
Deep breath.
Let's
Deep breath.
have a party?
Now let's not have a party. Okay, so I think this is one of those things that is both surprising to people and like, well, why didn't you guys do this like 3 years ago? So I think it's worth addressing that before we get more into this. Why now instead of like 2 years ago? Well, a year or 2 ago, Silverstream and Pinky weren't available, and there was an argument to be made that Pink only had about 2 good mains in Harmony, which are Vinyl and Skystar, basically. Suffice to say that this has changed. Between the last 3 sets, there have been a critical mass of good Pink mains becoming available, and a mostly ignored Lyra, who has also stormed onto the field. And all of these either were or are seeing play in core, and each of them has their own strengths and weaknesses. Meanwhile, in Harmony, there is one pink main, and that is this card right here. Nothing else even comes close. The flip condition on this is, with the exception of like one card, I think, basically guaranteed. And then when it gets flipped over, you're just drawing another card every turn. Like, that's kind of good.
Yeah, it turns out that even in a game where you can spend your resources to draw additional cards, and card drawing is a lot more forgiving, or at least a lot more accessible, free card draw is still free card draw. And moving through your deck at twice the normal rate of your opponent without having to spend any additional AT is really, really, really stupid.
Stupid good.
Yeah.
It makes inconsistent decks consistent. It makes control decks that have to constantly spend their tools to disrupt opponents almost never run out of options. Even aggro is sitting there like, I'll just blow my hand every turn because I know I can just draw back up again.
Whatever, it's fine. I'll get 2 cards next turn. I can spend like 3. It's okay. Yes, and then there's the elephant over in the room where, yeah, no, it can dig through your deck twice as fast, which means you can find combo pieces twice as fast.
I mean, one of the huge things for combo was that your flip condition digs you deeper. So it's like it doesn't cost you anything at all. And it gets you into your color trivially, which was often a really difficult part of the combos, was figuring out the best ways to get into colors without dedicating half your deck to it.
If you want a great example of how this card warps main selection in the Harmony format, I think one of the best decks to look at in recent history is Hithrock's Chrysalis Teamwork combo deck. This deck relies on no pink cards to be able to combo off. It is primarily purple and yellow.
Guess what main it's running?
It's running DJ. Because it turns out drawing through your deck twice as fast to find these pieces, even if it puts you in excess of your hand limit so you can discard stuff where you want it to be anyway, is really, really good. There's a side perk that we haven't mentioned to DJ in Harmony currently, which is so many decks were feeling forced to play Pinky Sense that having a main that would allow you to play that on turn 1 was also very good. We'll talk about why that was here in just a moment. But when Ara says that no other pink main really stood up to Vinyl over the last few years, he's not exaggerating. We've looked at major tournament reports for the last 3 years. Every convention, every major Harmony event that has been run outside of just a local area. And there have been 3 non-Vinyl mains that have had a top 8 finish. 3 in 3 years for all the events. And I don't mean multiple occurrences. I mean each one of them appeared once.
Yikes.
But if we go over and look at core, and we look at the pink mains there, there's a great deal of diversity. Silverstream has her niche. Lyra
Hog
won Continentals
with hands.
with hands.
Hands.
Right? Skystar aggro's hard.
Want to talk about shells?
Pinky eats your friends.
Nom nom nom.
I mean, I hold on. I need to go find some fireworks.
Cruise director
Exists.
We
exists.
don't talk about Cruise Director.
Correct.
Yes, I'm sorry. She doesn't eat them. She shoves them in a cannon.
They take involuntary trips to the next county over.
So to reinforce what Ara and Cheese and Ivory were saying here, the reason that we didn't act on DJ faster is because we wanted to be sure that there were enough desirable options that you could still run a pink main in Harmony. And we reached a point where there definitely were, and no one was biting. And there was a very clear reason for it. I don't think anyone is going to be sad to see combo decks, having to play more fairly. Maybe just the combo players.
Well, yeah, so like you and Hithrock.
And I guess we can deal with it.
Right.
Speaking of playing fairly,
You
do
want
you want to maybe
talk about more moons?
more moons?
Let's
the big bad one.
revisit the moon.
Yes. The promo version.
You put the promo up there.
Wow.
I really need to get one of these.
Not anymore, you don't. Rip.
I mean,
No.
I would still like to have one for collection's sake.
You still need one, obviously.
I should have taken a picture of the.
No, nope. We don't. Nope. Ixnay.
But she got banned.
Ixnay. Okay. Let's see here.
I mean, this is really all that man who's sitting there with the blue username in chat right now. It's all his fault anyway.
Wait. So this like affects both players equally, just like flipping
Biff.
over mains affects all mains equally.
Correct.
Old wounds.
Yeah, them some old wounds there. Anyway, so yeah, I don't even know where to begin with this one. Like, she's got some baggage. In fact, it took getting hit with a rainbow laser to fix that. That's how much baggage.
It's been an iconic card in Harmony for
It was
ever.
the very first promo.
So what is it about Nightmare Moon that we don't like? And we should go further than that. What is it about Nightmare Moon that pushes her so far above the reasonable power level that she has to be removed from one of the most powerful formats in the game?
Well, let's take a look. What does her text say here? It's, okay, when you uncover this card, all players discard their hand and draw 3 cards. So, no, just dump all that cool stuff that you've been sitting on, and then sure, she gives you 3 more cards, but then she's going to nibble on them until she goes away. And yes, it is symmetrical, but unfortunately, there is a card that makes it significantly less symmetrical.
It's that pinky sense we were talking about earlier.
Pinky sense.
Yes.
And these two together, okay, fine. And then there's another problem in that you can bring in untested magic fireworks. So now let's just keep flipping Nightmare over repeatedly and getting more shots off of the discard. And if you aren't running a pinky sense, you're going to have a bad time.
What we have to think about is there's kind of an analogy or a similarity between Nightmare Moon and her effect in Harmony and what we saw with Main 6 and Party Hard in Core, right? The problem was, you knew that Main 6 could potentially disrupt your board. You knew that your opponent had tools that could deal with your friends. So what are you going to decide to do? You're going to keep your friends in your hand until you're sure they're going to be useful. Because at least your hand is safe. And then your opponent completely destroys your entire hand with Party Hard. And you feel sad. Well, Nightmare Moon does the same thing, except it doesn't require you to have played, a 5-power pink friend and then another event as well. It's just a troublemaker. That also frightens anything that happens to be in play. That also continuously disrupts your opponent's hand. And as Aura said, the symmetry or lack of symmetry that's present when one player has a pinky sense and the other player doesn't is very, very bad. Nightmare Moon is a great troublemaker to be able to find as well, so with all the Grogar that we've seen Sing play in Harmony now, it's even more consistent. You can't flip Tempest turn 1 and grab a Nightmare Moon and have her be impactful, or at least not as impactful as you'd like. You can flip Nightmare Moon turn, or you can flip Tempest turn 1, find a Grogar, banish the Grogar, find a Nightmare Moon face down, and have her be impactful, however.
Nom nom nom.
And that feels really bad for the opponent.
We can look at discard effects that have been printed since Nightmare Moon. Nothing else has touched an opponent's entire hand the same way this card has. Nothing else has been this disruptive or this recurring. Because random untargeted discard is very, very powerful. Add on to this the fact that if your hand is almost empty or isn't doing anything useful, you can reset your hand with Nightmare Moon when your opponent still has a full grip in play. And it's a 3 bonus troublemaker, which are very rare. So if you're farming, you're likely drawing into more troublemakers or more events you can play to help you farm even faster. It just does everything.
Mean old scary old mare.
Also, her together with Vinyl, who also won't be around anymore. Yeah, Bugle is actually saying it in chat now. You can just play this turn 1 with the DJ main and guarantee your main flip.
So
Play
this
a
is going
pinky
to
sense.
yes.
Flip your main.
Keep the cards you want, ditch the cards you don't.
Draw those cards again.
Yeah, draw those specific cards. It's amazing.
So this will hurt control a bit. It will.
Although I don't think I really see a major issue with that. Control has
Also, it's
traditionally
farm a
been
bit.
very strong in Harmony.
Yeah, like Control and Farm have dominated Harmony.
And those are the 2 decks that this impacts the most.
Yeah.
Does it mean that there is one less tool to disrupt some of the combo decks that are present in Harmony right now? Absolutely. But those decks also lost a lot of their consistency because they lost DJ. All of these bannings were done in tandem with each other for a reason. We don't want to just kick aggro to the curb by removing Day Shift and saying Control can continue to run the best removal piece present in the format. We don't want to say, sorry, you don't have a good way to deal with combo anymore, and just kick Nightmare Moon out. That's not what we're looking for.
No. And as Bugle points out, yes, Fireworks combo did lose both. Gonna be honest, that's not a real fun deck to play against. That's up there in NPA territory.
Yeah, it's getting Tantabuse levels.
Now, in that one, I think that holds the distinction for the card that got banned the fastest.
Yep.
It was like a 2-week cycle between, oh, that's a broken card, and that card's gone. Rip.
I think it was at least a week after Gen Con.
Exactly 2.
Oh, it was 2 weeks.
It was 2. That was a card that did not need to be participating.
Yeah. So now the question, what does Harmony look like?
It's going to be a brave new world. It's going to be scary. Well, it's going to be less scary because Nightmare's not around.
Losing Vinyl doesn't stop decks that were running pink as a primary color from working. There are plenty of options that are out there. It's just going to require them to focus a bit more in one direction.
Because you can't have all of your cake and eat it too. Celestia took that to the moon with her.
But why?
I mean, there's that image of Luna stealing a piece of Celestia's cake and dodging laser beams that's been going around recently.
Yes, there is.
It should be noted that for those of you that are participating in the Heiko event that just started today, if you are running DJ and Nightmare Moon in your decks, those will still be legal for the event. These do not take effect until June 12th.
Get it all out of your system now.
So you don't have to resubmit your decks. You can still use your degeneracy one last time.
I sat there and enjoyed my last 4 weeks with Berry Punch and Orange Swirl.
I'm sure you did.
I want to say I missed that card, but I know why I can't have.
Yes. Well, do we have anything else we want to cover on these bans for today?
Well, let's see. The Hacko launched, so I guess I can't sit here and plug that. But there might be a reason that we chose these to go into effect on June 12th, was it?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like that's a Friday, and there's a weekend immediately after that. So it's like we're planning another OnlineCon or something.
I like weekends.
Yeah, I think this one doesn't even happen to line up with a random holiday. Someone's going to tell me that I'm wrong.
Is it Father's Day? No, Father's Day is on the 20-something.
We
It's
made
later
sure
than
that it dodged everything.
Specifically, well, anything that most of the things that we're aware of. But yeah, so look out for that.
Anything
Also-
with the... Go ahead.
Oh, it's not related to the bans, so...
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say, for those of you that are subscribed to us on YouTube, you know that we are still uploading regular weekly gameplay videos, so you should definitely go and watch those, because they're a lot of fun. And we have a channel URL, youtube.com/c/commentaryismagic.
Look how easy that is to remember.
It's not equals you something.
Correct. And those gameplay videos almost get all the card effects completely right.
Spoilers
Except
for the
not
upcoming one.
really. There's
fine.
at least one incorrectly
didn't
processed
matter.
card.
No,
And no, it didn't matter.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
It didn't matter.
Spoilers. Stop it. No spoilers, darling.
Yes. Well, with all that said, I think that's going to wrap up our ban list discussion for today. We would like to give a big shout out to all our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. If you aren't currently a patron and you enjoy what we do, please consider donating. Doing so does enable us to continue making content like this and lets you earn some great perks as a bonus. If you have comments or questions you'd like to send our way, feel free to reach out to us through Facebook, Twitter, or email. If you're a patron, you can also chat live with us on Slack any day, anytime. Especially on the weekends, when sleep schedules go right out the window.
4 a.m.
The trick is just don't have a sleep schedule to begin with.
But I have to adult during the week.
You don't have to do anything. You are encouraged to do so by external pressures, like job.
Deep. Finally, if you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel linked just below the stream. With all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I am, as always, Grandpaws.
Big Cheese.
Arcat and
And I'm sorry, I'm reading my card before I play it. I'm Ivory Starlight.
Nice.
Ouch.
Bye.
Ouch. Bye-bye.
Bye.